Hello and welcome to Ignite with Mwangala. I am your host, Mwangala Chakalashi Santos. Now we're in the festive season where we give it meaning. For some of us, it's shopping, it's celebration, it's good food, whatever that means for you. Now on today's show, we have somebody very special. We're actually privileged and honored to have him. He is amongst the finest ministers of foreign affairs that Zambia has ever produced. He went on to create his own party called Democratic Party. He is President Harry Kalaba. Mr. President, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mwangala. I'm happy to be on this show, and it's good to be here. And it's also good to see you after a long time.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I was hoping you don't forget me.
No, I shouldn't forget you, especially in these days, in these difficult times. We shouldn't forget one another.
True.
But also during the festive period like this one, it's just good that we should remember the past in order to understand the future. And so everybody in the past becomes very critical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about Christmas. But before we talk about Christmas and what that means for you, we want to find out, Zambians have our own perception of who you are. Just before the interview, I was telling you that a couple of days back, I was going through and checking, so who is Harry Kalaba? I saw you playing football with your son, and I told myself, oh, so he can actually play football. He's actually that fit. So, so who is President Harry Kalaba?
Well, I think my name is Harry Kalaba,
Yeah.
born in the year of our Lord, 1976, on the 12th of June. I come from a family of initially 14 people. Currently composed of 11. I've lost 2 brothers and a sister. I lost a brother some 4 months ago, Simon, whom I think you know, Mwangala.
Yes, I do.
And we buried him on the 15th of August this year. So now we are 11. I've still got my 6 sisters and 4 brothers plus me 5. I think if my maths is right, it comes to 11. As you know, I finished my secondary school at St. Clement Secondary School, and then I proceeded to the seminary. I was telling you before coming here
yes, that was shocking for me.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know. I was in the seminary for about close to 6 years, and I wanted to become a Jesuit in the beginning.
So this is home for you?
This is home. But the only challenge with the Jesuit was that the time that I should have started my postulancy was taking a bit long. And so I was counting on now going either to the missionary oblates of Mary Immaculate or the missionaries of Africa. And I ended up with the missionaries of Africa because they called me earlier. That is how I began my seminary life. I spent 6 months in Koribo, Serenge, St. Peter's. So I was in Serenge for 6 months. And then after 6 months, I was taken to Uganda, in Jinja, where I spent 3 years of study. And then from there, I was taken to the novitiate in Kahangala, in Magu, Mwanza, in Tanzania, where I did a year. And then I was posted to go to South Africa to go and do my pastoral work for 2 years. Now, it was during that period of going to South Africa that I asked for 2 years to think through my life, whether I was meant to become a Catholic priest or I should serve God in another paradigm. And so it was granted. Then I went back to Uganda to study my public administration at Makerere University. And then after I finished, I came back to Zambia and started working in the roads department in government as an executive officer. A year later, I was elevated. I became a senior executive officer in government printing department as well as buildings department. Buildings, just 3 months, then I went to government printers, where I spent 9 months, and again I was elevated. I became administrative officer and the Ministry of Works and Supply, and then transferred to the Ministry of Lands, where I spent about 3 to 4 years as admin officer. Then I was transferred to Cabinet Office, where I was elevated to be an assistant director. I was acting as assistant director at the time of my resignation in 2008 when I resigned. I resigned because I wanted to join mainstream politics. And I joined President Satafuli because earlier on in 2006, I'd already started thinking that probably again, civil service was not my way of life. So I was going to take a break. So I got some 6 months unpaid leave in 2007. And after the unpaid leave, I took my resignation in 2008 in January. Just the same way as I did it in 2018, 2017. I resigned. I went on leave, and 2018 I resigned as foreign minister. So anyway, in 2011 I contested as member of parliament for Bahati, and I was very privileged that on first attempt I won with a very convincing margin. I think I had about 14,000 something, and the closest guy was only at 2,000 votes. And that's what's going to happen even in 2021 when we do our elections. So a year later, President Sata elevated me. I became deputy minister in the office of the vice president. And again, a year later, from office of the vice president, again I was elevated to be minister of lands, and the Ministry of Lands and Environmental Protection, that time it was called. Ministry of Lands, Natural Resources and Environmental Protection, a very long title. I went back to my former ministry where I was a civil servant, and I found some of them who were my directors, those who were harassing me, those who were kicking me right, left, and center. So I called them when I arrived as minister. I said, you remember me, right? They said, yes, we remember you, minister. I said, that is life. That's how it is. Life is like a wheel, I was telling them.
True.
You know? And then there was this permanent secretary. Let me just go back a bit.
Yeah.
There was this permanent secretary. You know when you look at me, I've got scars, Mwangala.
Yes.
This is not how you knew me in the past.
Not
you know,
at all.
I had a very terrible accident in 2005. You know, I hit in a train, and I was decapitated for about 6 months. And when I was still when I was still recovering, because I even went to France and then came back, the PS then, I won't mention his name, he wrote me a letter that you have destroyed the vehicle for government. You know, and I was in bandages, and then I received a letter on my bedside that you have damaged the vehicle, therefore you have to exculpate yourself. We're giving you 14 days in which to exculpate yourself. So I was like, what kind of hatred is this? Anyway, I recovered and I went and exculpated myself. But so when I became member of parliament, even before I became minister, I was coming out of the chamber in parliament, and that PS who wrote to me that same letter was coming from the galleries there and is coming down the stairs. And then I tell him, PS, you remember what I told you when I was with you at Ministry of Lands? When you mistreated me? Because I told him that, sir, life is like a wheel. Today you are up, tomorrow you are down. You don't know my destiny.
True.
And if you mistreat me today, you don't know what tomorrow might bring for me. And he didn't get it. So I told him, okay, I can even go ahead and resign if you want. So anyway, I went on and went to cabinet office. But in 2013, I was promoted. I was lands minister. And then again, a year later, I was elevated. I became Minister of Foreign Affairs. I was the youngest foreign minister, actually, on the continent of Africa when I assumed that office, because I was only 38 years old. And you know, Mwangala, the way my promotion happened was such that I was in Livingstone. That was in March. I remember 12th March is supposed to be Youth Day. And I was officiating Youth Day in Livingstone as Minister of Lands. After I finished officiating, that was around 14 hours. Then there were exhibits that were around there at the museum, so they took me there. I saw those things. And then I was only leaving Livingstone about 18 hours back to Lusaka. So the following morning was the 13th, and around 8:30, I received a call from the president. President Michael Sata called me. And you know, we all used to fear receiving calls from the president in the mornings, because that's the time presidents read their intelligence report.
So you don't know whether you're fired.
You don't know whether you are in that report or something has happened in the report. So I look at the number, it was State House, 26 something something, I still remember the number. Then the secretary tells me, please hold on for the president. Jesus Christ is Lord. This morning, how come? You know, so he says, hello. I greet him, good morning, Your Excellency.
I want you to imitate his voice, because I'm sure
you know the way he was doing President side, on the other side he says, hello. Then he says, Wakalava. I said, Your Excellency, good morning. What is good about the morning? I said, no, Your Excellency, I just thought I should. Anyway, he goes now. Anyway, where are you? So I tell him, Your Excellency, I'm still home, because I don't lie. I'm still home, sir. You are home this time? I said, yes, Your Excellency, because I was... No. That's why I've even removed you from the Ministry of Lands. And he cut the phone. Mama mia. So I was like...
What next for me?
What wrong have I done? This man, he can't even listen to me, surely. So now I was there in bed. I said, what do I do? I called my wife, Irene, and said, I received a call from the president, and he tells me that he has removed me as minister. So he says, so she asked me, but what have you done? I said, I don't know. Maybe he has reports about me, which I don't know. You know, we are living in a world of jealousy, and maybe somebody has said something that is not right about me. Now, I look outside, I see my driver has come, and he has put the flag on the vehicle. So I'm like, how am I going to go in that vehicle with the flag? Because I've been fired, as far as I'm concerned. So then I again ask Irene, what happens to the guy? Do I go in the vehicle like that? Do I go in my own car? Or... She says, no, but they have not written to you officially. So you behave as if nothing has happened. Just go in normal, and then... that was, that 1 hour between leaving home and reaching Ministry of Lands was the longest I've ever experienced. So in any case, I just picked up courage, I got a shower, and went now to the office to receive my letter. And you know what happened? I'm just arriving. The messenger from State House also is bringing the letter at the office. And I'm like, what have you brought? I'm asking the guy, what have you brought? He says, no, I have a letter for you. I've just brought it. So my secretary was telling me, okay, sir. I said, can I have the letter? I said, no, sir, I want to record it. I said, no, I don't want anything to record. It's my letter. Bring it here.
You were anxious to find out what was in the letter.
Oh, my goodness. So I go and open this, and I even say a prayer. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And the courage to accept. It's a famous prayer. So I did that serenity prayer. And then I opened the letter. I found that it was, ministerial transfer, yourself, with the powers vested in me, that same thing that they write. I have transferred you from Ministry of Lands to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Wow.
I was like, this is a promotion. That man, what was he talking about, So that is how I got my elevation to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then I was in that ministry for 4 years, until the time that I resigned on the 2nd of January.
Which was a shock at
2nd of January 2018. In fact, I resigned way back before that, because you resign in the spirit before you resign in the physical. So I'd resigned already in the spirit way back in August. I even went for a 3 months prayer and fasting. I even stopped. My late driver, Mlenga Sepiti, is gone to the Lord. Will tell you that I stopped flying the government flag in 2017 August. I was not flying a flag on my vehicle. I was just going like that. And by October, when I came back from the United Nations General Assembly, I'd even cascaded my going to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They'll tell you there that I used to go there maybe only once or twice in a week. The rest of the times, they'll just bring the files home for me to just sign them from. If there was anything urgent, they would bring. If there was an urgent meeting, I would go. And of course, I kept attending to diplomats and so on and so forth, because I was preparing for my departure. And every day, I would go to the office, I would come out, put something. The day I was leaving, because I went on leave, just to be sure. I went on leave just to be sure that what I was doing was not a mistake. I asked for a month leave. So on the 17th of December 2017, I proceeded on leave. I was due to return on the 17th of January. And no, the Lord was very clear with me. I was at peace.
Wow. I
was at peace. And so the 2nd of January, I said, now this is the day. First was a holiday. What I didn't want was to step my foot in 2018 at Foreign Affairs. I didn't want. I'd already made up my decision. My wife and I had already prayed about it. And the Lord was clear with us that we have had enough in the...
And that was it.
And that was it.
Now I'm looking at somebody who is fearless. What drives you?
Well, I remember I was a Catholic. I wanted to become a Catholic priest. Yeah. I'm sure a father who's moderating this is listening to me wherever he is. He will tell you that there in the seminary, we learn self-detachment.
That's powerful.
Very powerful. It's something that I think, for me, my ministers, somehow we have to find a way of allowing ministers to learn a bit of philosophy. I think it's important. Because the moment you begin self-denial, Self-denial is such that when I was appointed as deputy minister in the office of the vice president, they give ministers 300,000 kwacha to buy furniture, to buy a new TV, because you'll be receiving now high-class people in your home, so your house has to look ministerial. I declined. I declined that money. I said, this money must be given to UTH at the Cervical Cancer Department, because I lost an aunt. The doctors will tell you. We lost our aunt with cervical cancer, and it pained me so much that all these years after independence, we can still be having people dying of cervical cancer.
So before you lose your thought, I mean, I'm a wife here, and I'm imagining, did Irene know that you actually declined 300,000? I'm talking as a wife now.
Yeah, Irene is not into material things as well. And thank God I've got a wife like that. Because when I told her, there is this money, and I don't think we need this money, I was telling her. She says, why? I told her, because look, they already gave me settling in allowance. That was about 70,000 kwacha. And with that settling in allowance, we're happy ourselves with that kind of money. And we bought all kinds of things with it. And then the following day again, we found a check of 300,000 kwacha. I said, this is for what? They said it's for buying furniture now. I said, what about the one you gave me? No, just for you to settle, so that if you had accrued during your campaigns, you had all these things, so maybe you can clear. And then this one, I said, no, this is too much money.
Wow.
This is too much money. So we asked Secretary to Cabinet. I wrote to him and told him, for me, at this 300,000, maybe we should give it to the Cervical Cancer Department. Of course, they declined to do that. I also refused to move in a government house. There was an upstairs house, just next to where President Long was staying, in Brentwood there. I was supposed to have been his neighbor. I said, no, I am not shifting in a government house. I declined. And the reason why we declined with Irene was because I think, or we thought that it was not good for us to move the children from the house that they had used, the compound that they were used to, and also we didn't want to change the neighborhood, because that would have meant that we were going to just be in the minister's compound, and those people that have been with us, that have seen us before, we are not going to begin accessing us because of our new found life that we had accrued, or new status in society. And we just said, no, we'll just remain here.
Yeah.
So
before we take a break, what is that one thing that most of the Zambians out there don't know about you?
What is it that, I think there are a lot of things that they don't know about me. There are a lot of things.
So what is that one thing?
What can I say? One thing. What's one thing? I mean, I depend on God. Maybe they don't know that my dependence is on the Lord.
I think we know that. One thing that I saw was you playing football. I didn't think you were that fit. I mean, looking at the nature of what you do.
Mwangala, I run. Or maybe they don't know that I run 7 kilometers thrice a week. Even this morning, I was doing 7 kilometers. I mean, they're in our area. Ask anybody who lives where I live there in Makeni, they'll tell you that every other day they'll see me on the road doing my 7 kilometers. I don't even know why I'm not even losing weight.
What does that do for you?
It keeps me very alert. Because also I read a lot. I got a lot of commitments during the day. And I've got a lot of things that are coming now. As the party is growing, there are a lot of commitments, a lot of demands on me. So I remain alert. I remain very stable. I remain very steady by keeping myself healthy. So maybe people didn't know that I can run.
Wow.
And they didn't know that I can play football.
I do play football together.
Yeah, we should.
One of these days.
We should. Yes, I'll invite you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We take a short break, and when we come back, we talk about the festive season. Now, if you're joining us, I am talking to President Harry Kalava. Don't go away.
To advertise on this program and enjoy amazing introductory rates, please call us on +260 211 290959 or +260 211 290912 or +260 953 538 000. Or send us an email at loyolazam@gmail.com.
Welcome back. If you're joining us now, I'm talking to DP President Harry Kalava. So before we went on break, you shared with us that you actually jog, and I'm looking forward to that day.
I don't even know why we went on break anyway, because we've just been talking here stories, Mwangala.
I like that. So we were talking about Christmas, and I was just telling you that for me, Christmas meant rice, potato, and would pronounce this potato, chicken, and a Fanta. So
that's my big one.
Yeah, that's my big one, yes. And for me, a dress would just complete my Christmas. Nice floral dress from my dad. May he so rest in peace. Yeah. What was it like for you for Christmas?
I mean, growing up, I think it is not very different from you. I think that was the in thing that time. There would be music played. Mom would do some scones for us. And then there's the lunch itself, which is rice.
Rice with soup.
With soup and chicken.
We used to call it soup.
Soup.
Yes.
And that was Christmas, and maybe each one of us will have been bought a shirt or a short, some shoes, just like that. Because we were many in our family, we are 14, so Dad maybe would buy me a shirt.
Yeah.
The other one would have some slippers, the other one would have had... but I remember one Christmas when Dad forgot to buy something for your friend Dorcas. Dorcas didn't get anything. So Dad,
oh my God.
A mom checked in the bag and...
There was nothing for Dorcas.
There was nothing. Didn't she cry?
Oh my God.
And being young, we don't go and show off our new...
I have this.
Yeah, I have. And they'll go into the person who doesn't have.
Shame.
So that was the Christmas that we had. And it was fun.
Yeah. Do you miss it? Compared to the Christmas that you're now having.
Well,
you're president, Kalava.
Life is seasonal.
You can go to Dubai, you can go to South Africa. How is it like now?
Life is seasonal. Life is seasonal. And each season needs to be celebrated in its own diversity. And so that was this season. And now the Lord has brought us this far. We can only say Ebenezer. And for now, it's a different ballgame for me. Christmas is a time of reflection.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's a time of reflection. It's a time to connect myself to the birth of Christ. If you are a Catholic, you will know that this is the time that they're preparing. The Catholics are preparing for the birth of Christ, the one who has come to liberate the world, the Messiah. So it becomes a very difficult and very important time to prepare for that time. It's not a time for drinking or anything. Yeah. It's a time to be focused, that he who has come to take us away from the burden of sin is about to come into this world. The incarnate Christ.
Yeah.
So it's not a different, because as you grow, you begin purifying your intentions of Christmas, So our intentions are now purified. We know what Christmas is and how we should celebrate it.
Okay. But do you still do Christmas shopping?
Well, because I still have children. I still have a daughter, who's only 7 years, and Christmas is a big deal for her. And so, obviously, she will tell me she wants that. And now there are all these releases they do on the Xbox or whatever they call it, these movies. And so they'll say, there is a new release on Christmas, and they're watching these Christmas films that are coming out. I see my daughter and my older son, Mutende, they're always watching Christmas movies, putting themselves in the mood of Christmas. The other day, I found them putting up a Christmas tree in the house. So it's a big deal, eh?
Yes,
and even now we have to buy presents for one another. We pick names.
Okay.
In the house.
You still do that?
Yeah, we do that. We pick names in the house. And then I pick maybe my daughter picks my name, and then they all go buy gifts and they put them under the Christmas tree.
And then Santa
yes.
in the morning says, you have this gift?
Yes, Santa has given us this. Okay, so we share like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what kind of a father are you?
Well, it's a very complex question you're asking. I can't be a father. It should not even be me who should be answering that question, because obviously I'll speak niceties about myself.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We'll
find out from Madam Irene.
I'll tell you. But even I'll tell her, if you go and speak otherwise.
Yeah, I'll beat you.
Yeah. So I'll tell you that I've tried to be myself.
Yeah.
And that's why I have always tried not to be taken by the moment, by the happenings of the moment. Even when I was Foreign Affairs Minister, I would ensure that time we have for Bible study as a family, that time we have to share the word, if it's my turn that day, even when I was minister, even when I was member of parliament, even as president of the Democratic Party, I still have to go home and know, Thursday evening is my time. I have to share some scripture with everybody home. And so we've maintained that because they say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, Train up your child in good ways and they'll grow up growing up in the way of the Lord. So that's what we do. And I was happy that just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, my son, Chetekela, my firstborn son, was having a crusade, a youth revolution revival, where he was preaching, and he had so many youths at the showgrounds going there. I thought that was good, and it gave me a lot of encouragement as a parent.
Yeah, that you've done something right.
We've done something right, He's not rushing for cannabis. He's not rushing for this kind of alcoholic beverages, but he's rushing for the Lord. So for me, I've tried to be a good father.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So this Christmas, if you were to celebrate it differently, what is that one thing that you do differently? Of course, you're a father, you're a leader. We're all looking up to you. What would you do differently?
Well, I mean, basically, the birth of Christ is a joyful event, and each time we celebrate it, we are sharing in that joy. That's why you find that even in the Democratic Party, we are coming together with colleagues. We are sharing with those that are underprivileged. I was in Ndola just a week ago, where we're sharing some bags of meal with those that don't have. I think we'll be doing the same tomorrow. We'll be sharing with the underprivileged, a few bags of meal going there, so that everybody can have hope for tomorrow. Sure. The Messiah is being born, and they should also feel his birth in very real terms, so that when they are coming into Christmas, at least they know that they've got a bit of something, at least for them. Even as they go to church, they know when we finish church and we go back home, we'll go and eat something. They'll pray more. They'll thank God more. And they will understand that indeed to live is to live for others.
That's
so for me, Christmas is basically living for others, because he who's going to be born on the 25th of December is coming for this generation. He's coming to be born for us. He's coming to die for us, coming to be crucified for our own transgressions. So we need to do our part as well.
Wow, you almost want to make me say amen. Now,
Why did you say that?
So before you give us a Christmas message, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask this question, and I always ask this question to everybody I'm talking to on this set, is if you were given a second chance, if you were on your deathbed and you were given a second chance to live, what is that one thing that you would do differently? And what are some of the dreams that you would ignite?
To tell you the truth, there's so many things that I would want to do differently. Sometimes in life, you realize that you could have done a lot of things way too differently. But I think life has got its own culture, in the way it is crafted. I want to believe that this is the way the Lord wanted me to live my life, because the glory of God is a human being fully alive. And that simply means that you make your own mistakes in the journey of life. The Lord doesn't expect me perfect, because I'm living in an imperfect society. And so I think I would start all over again, and if I would be available to know and have a premonition or have an insight of things in the future, I would try to do them better, because sometimes I have committed myself to things that I've come to say, I shouldn't have done this, in the beginning. I resigned, for instance, as Foreign Affairs Minister, because I didn't agree with what was going on in government. If I had known from inception, I would not even have been the spokesperson of that grouping. I would have said, no, I'm not part of it. But I'm only human, bound by human frailty. And so I've had my own share of mistakes, which I would, if I was given another mistake, I would gladly correct them.
Wonderful.
And I will avoid that train accident.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, you're a leader, and I was just telling you earlier that I think leadership is a gift. It comes from God. What really matters is what you do with that gift. As a leader of this country, what message are you giving to the Zambian viewers that are watching us now?
Mwangala, I think we must look at Christ himself and how he lived his life. That must be our inspiration. We must know at all times that we are meant for one another. And we leaders must be in the forefront of ensuring that we come together as a country. It's during this Christmas period, it must be a time of introspection. What role have I played as a leader to bring people together? Have I insisted on their weaknesses instead of their strengths? Have I insisted on what can bring them down instead of what can take them up? Our job as leaders is to ensure that we don't focus on the differences, but we should focus on what can unify us. You know what they call unity in diversity. You know, you might be Mwangala, I might be Kalaba, but at the end of the day, our common denominator is that we are Zambians.
Sure.
That is one, but even beyond that, we are human beings, created in the image of God. So, it becomes important for us to focus on that particular aspect, that we are human beings. I didn't choose to be born as Harry Kalaba as a man. You didn't choose to be born as Mwangala. You said Sanders or what?
Santos.
What did you get Sanders from?
Santos. You can't forget, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah.
Mwangala Santos.
Oh, yes. Okay, Mwangala, thanks. So, I think Christmas becomes a time for us to heal the divide.
Yeah.
You know, as a country, we are so broken. Our leaders have not helped us to bridge the divide. We leaders, and I, myself inclusive, I think need to do a lot to ensure that we ameliorate the challenges that our people are facing. We should not exacerbate the differences. It's important for us to bring the Easterners, Westerners, Southerners, Northerners, those in the Central, Lusaka, and whatever you want to call them together, and make them understand that united we stand, divided we collapse.
That's so powerful. Now I want you to sing. Can you sing?
To sing what?
A song.
How come
What's
you
your
didn't warn me
favorite
that
song?
somebody was singing here?
No, but I think...
Where's the microphone?
The micro, we can sing. I can join.
But I can't sing without a microphone.
Do you want to stand, or can you sing just the way we are?
I mean, what song do you want me to sing?
What is your favorite song? Kalindula, of course. I don't expect you to tell me that Beyonce or Jay-Z.
You know what?
It could be one of those.
You know Slap D?
Uh-huh.
He's got a lot of nice songs, Slap D.
Oh, let's do one of
Do you know
his
one of the
songs.
songs of Slap D?
Wow. Oh,
Okay, you don't know
caught
Slap
me in a
D.
bit. No, I know Slap D, but of course I don't know one song.
What about?
Can you
What about? I want somebody. I mean, something from.
What's your favorite song?
I don't know. I've got so many songs.
Okay,
I've
give
got
me
so
one.
many songs, but you know, when you put me on the spotlight, I can't even remember anything.
What about Kalindula?
I like which one?
Piket Chala. Did you ever listen
Once
to
a
Piket Chala?
Kabila Mayo, yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Eh?
Can we do that one?
Do you know it, Mwangala?
I'll try. I'll follow. You lead. I'll follow.
Once a Kabila Mayo, yeah.
Wow.
Chishala we mulongo wakwesu.
Can we increase the volume? Can we increase the volume? I want to.
But I want the song that you can also participate in.
Okay. But what's your favorite song? Is that one of the songs that you like?
I'm looking
Because I want you to sing just one verse and then we sing We Wish You a Merry Christmas. I'll join you. In fact, I'll ask everybody to join us.
No, I don't know what song I'm going to sing. I don't know.
Do you sing in the shower as you're preparing for the day? You
Yeah.
know, there are those songs that you just sing. That's the one I want you to sing here.
Okay.
I just want the Zambians to actually see that you are
can
one
sing.
of us. You can sing, you can jog.
Nainwina menso kumudu elio namona ba malaika nabo baleti wa mushilo oh wa mushilo nani
Wa mushilo,
wa mushilo lesa
wa mushilo,
wa mushilo nani wa mushilo
wa mushilo. Wow. So now we sing the Christmas song. We wish you a Merry Christmas. So as we wind
And where is the
up...
present? You don't sing a Merry Christmas without the present?
No, the present is coming.
Okay.
So can we sing?
These ladies will bring it, right?
Yes, they're bringing it. I've seen. I think we have 2 or 3.
But I
just
can't
for
see
the
any
two of us.
movements.
So 1, 2, 3. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes!
Yay!
Hooray! Wow.
This has been President Harry Kalava of the DP on Ignite with Mwangala. Join me for another exciting episode.